Before I start the video, did you guys see the video of Wanderlei Silva getting knocked out by his opponent's cornerman? After he got DQ'd for headbutting? Crazy. I didn't even know he was still an active fighter. I guess this fight happened in Brazil? Wanderlei Silva should have retired ages ago, man. He shouldn't be fighting. I guess it's one of those examples of fighters not knowing what to do after retirement. I'll talk more on that at the end of the week when more details come out. Now on to the video. So in the last video I made, I talked about the biggest ops of the channel, and afterwards, I received a couple DMs from both Jon Jones and Ilia Topuria fans, calling me a casual and I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, I'm here to remind all those people that I still don't give a fuck. I'm gonna keep them on my list until further notice. I will say, however, that Ilia Topuria and a couple others might not stay on that list this time next year. It was called a current list of fighters. However, Jon Jones will stay on that list. So you Jon Jones fans can keep crying. I knew me getting into the MMA YouTube space was gonna get me some haters, and that's okay. In the famous words of the Butcher, the more haters I get, the stronger I become. Okay, that's enough of that. Today we're moving a bit differently. We're going from the dark side to the light side. I'm gonna be talking about 10 UFC fighters and the moment I became a forever fan of them. We're talking they can do no wrong, bro. Let's get to this list. Number 10, Kamaru Usman. The moment that stands out to me the most when I think about Kamaru Usman, is the knockout of Jorge Masvidal. Now, this in no way means I hate Masvidal. Even though I was annoyed of him during the buildup of that fight, this knockout didn't just knock out Masvidal, it shut Masvidal's fan base up. His fan base were filled with some of the most annoying people I've ever met. At the height of his popularity, I couldn't escape people yelling crotch sniffer every time someone decided to wrestle. It was filled with a bunch of boxing heavy fans that kept calling wrestlers and jiu-jitsu pussy shit in MMA. I do blame Masvidal for encouraging it, but most of the hate goes to the fan base. And on the night of April 24, 2021, in Jacksonville, Florida, Kamaru Usman knocked out both Masvidal and his fan base's voice. They've been real quiet ever since, and I love it. Thank you, Kamaru Usman, for your contribution to my mental health. Number 9, Belal Muhammad. Yes, I remember the name Belal Muhammad for the very reason that he took the title from Leon Edwards. Once again, no hate towards Leon Edwards, even though he was a dishonorable mention in my biggest ops video. But we can't pretend that Leon Edwards' title reign didn't bring dark days to the welterweight division. And once again, people were thinking that Leon Edwards was some knockout artist because he KO'd Usman. But I knew that wasn't the case. Usman didn't zig when he should have zagged. And every fight Leon had after that have all been decisions. Point fighting his way to victory. People want to hate on Belal like he didn't make the welterweight division great again. The excitement returned when Belal won the belt. Even though he lost against JDM, let's not act like that fight wasn't exciting. I will even argue that Belal had much more exciting decision wins than Leon Edwards. He even finished Sean Brady, bro. Sean Brady finished Leon Edwards. He also gave us one of the best wallpapers we've seen in a while, and that's when Belal dropped him on his head. That picture was my wallpaper for a week, so the haters best remember the name. Number 8, Merab Dvalishvili. I became a fan when he had that comeback win against Marlon Moraes, but he messed that up when he got a decision win over Aldo by holding him against the cage. I, like many others, had that same sentiment towards Merab at that time, but my guy switched it around when he fireman carried Henry Cejudo across the cage. Henry Cejudo was another one that was a dishonorable mention in my ops video. And what made that so funny was that he made Henry look like a child, bro. It looked like one of those situations where your kid won't settle down, so you decide to fireman carry him to a different part of the house to calm him down. Bro got sunned. And to be honest, I just find Henry Cejudo kind of annoying. I do honestly believe that he is the worst part of the Pound for Pound podcast, and the real reason I started hating was due to his early retirement. Bro, everyone but him knew it was a mistake. And then he started hopping on Twitter, calling out fighters left and right. Whatever. Anyway, this fight was the birth of Merab the character, the guy we see now constantly emoting during fights. Plus, I find the Merab skits on Instagram pretty funny. I ain't gonna lie. Number 7, Paddy Pimblett. I always felt that Paddy was going to get fraud checked eventually, especially after his controversial win against Jared Gordon. But all that changed when he submitted Bobby Green. Yes, Bobby Green. Not King Green, Bobby Green. Once he got that W, I got on the Paddy train and I'm still on that shit. Win or lose. Another moment I didn't appreciate at that time until now was him roasting Ilia Topuria at the press conference. I've been calling people farts ever since. You fucking fought. Back to Bobby Green. Just like Cejudo, I find Bobby Green to be one of the cringiest guys in UFC. Dude gives off Lil Mabu vibes, bro. Paddy submitting Bobby Green solidified him as someone to take serious. And even though I don't think he can beat Ilia Topuria, at least right now, all that can change with just one more win over a top 5 opponent. Either way, I'll be on the Paddy train for a long time to come. Number 6, Alex Pereira. Bro is an aura magnet and doesn't even speak a word of English. From his nickname Poeton, meaning hands of stone, to him sleeping dudes left and right and having one of the most spine-chilling walkouts, this dude was meant for superstardom. Dude became my hero at UFC 300 when he knocked out Jamal Hill, who is in my top 10 biggest ops. It wasn't even that he knocked out Hill, it was the Kaveh Lane reference he pulled off after he did it. I remember seeing that moment and just cracking up to myself. What made that knockout sweeter was that Hill got salty about it after, which hurt, bro, because Hill could have very well been on this list. I was a fan. I found this skits funnier than Merab's. And after Hill started getting salty after his losses, he became like one of those toys you get tired of and don't want to play anymore. Like, this toy ain't cool anymore. Alex is definitely a win or lose fighter that will always have me watching, even if his fan base is annoying. Number 5, Islam Makhachev. Dude is just funny in interviews, man. The one interview that made me watch him every time he spoke was the one with DC where he said, "Brother, this leg, undefeated, undisputed." I don't know why. I found that so funny, but I did. And ever since, dude has been dropping meme gems in every interview. From who gives these guys black belts to send your son to Dagestan for 2 to 3 years and forget. This dude is so unintentionally funny. On top of that, he also has great fights. You can't sit there and say Islam doesn't put on bangers, bro. The Oliveira fight submits the most dangerous grappler in the division. The first Volk fight, fight of the year contender. The second Volk fight, head kick KO. The Poirier fight, good back and forth with the submission at the end. The Moicano fight, submission. Dude hasn't had a boring fight in a long time and is willing to fight anyone. I predict the Islam JDM fight is going to be a war. Let's not forget that Islam is a pretty decent shit talker too. Dude got under Oliveira's skin in the first fight. Islam is the reason I now take offense to someone when they grin at me, bro. You grin at me, it's on site now. Number 4, Dricus Du Plessis. Even though he lost to Hamza Chimaev, I am a fan win or lose. Bro, Dricus won me over, pause. When I saw dude roasting both Strickland and Adesanya back to back, then goes and roasts everyone on X. At one point, dude was a whole menace in the UFC. If Ilia Topuria didn't win the title, Dricus would have been the biggest supervillain second to John Jones. His plot armor fighting style also made him entertaining. Because I was like, there's no way this dude could ever lose. Unless Hamza fought him, of course. But other than him, no one else was getting past that Looney Tunes style of fighting, bro. And it's his fighting style that makes the RDR a dream fight, bro. The two drunk uncles duking it out at the end of the family party kind of fight. I find it hard to believe that dude didn't become a superstar with his style of fighting and the underrated trash talk. That's why I was kind of sad when he lost to Hamza. Number 3, Tony Ferguson. Bro, Tony had one of the biggest falls from grace I've ever seen in the UFC next to BJ Penn. What made Tony so likable was just his I don't give a fuck mentality. Nate Diaz has it too, but in my opinion, he's not as likable as Tony Ferguson, but that's just my opinion. Dude was living in his own dimension. True main character energy. I'd go as far as to say that he had his own language, bro. Tony, the type of guy memes will never get old to me. I don't even know what moment to pick really, but if I had to, I'd choose the Fabricio Verdum moment when he told him he'd ankle pick him. Verdum was 3 times his size and still told him to shut up. Tony was different during his prime, bro. Or that time he told Kevin Lee that he was gonna TF him and all Lee could respond with was, "I'm not even gonna solicit that with a response." Let's not forget the famous interview where he said, "This is a rat race, but I'm no rat. I'm a fucking turtle. Ninja turtle. Which one's your favorite?" Bro, I miss Tony in the UFC, man. But it was time to let him go. Number 2, Max Holloway. The best is blessed, baby. My favorite moment of his was hands down the knockout of Justin Gaethje at UFC 300. But that wasn't the moment where I became a super fan of Max. I've always been a fan, don't get me wrong. But when he fought Calvin Kattar and told the UFC commentary table to count it up and screaming he's the best boxer in UFC while evading all of Kattar's punches was nothing short of legendary. Just like Pereira, this dude is an aura magnet, bro. After the Gaethje knockout, he literally got on the mic and yelled, "I'm him." Bro had me dying. Because I never thought I would hear someone say that in the most perfect scenario imaginable. Dude, even that time he started teaching Brian Ortega how to strike after putting on a striking clinic on him was gold. From his one-liners to his fighting style, dude has created a superfan in me, bro. Dude is winning in both his fight career and life. If you know, you know. Number 1, Alex Volkanovski, the featherweight GOAT, Volk. Let's start off with the exact moment I became a forever fan. UFC 266, round 3 versus Brian Ortega. Dude was put in 2 submissions back to back and survived. First one was a guillotine choke Ortega had on him, which he later admitted was tight enough to almost end the fight. Face going purple and shit, and still managed to survive. And then he escapes it and gets caught in the triangle choke, which is why they call Ortega T-City, and escapes that as well. Bro, Volk was a cyborg that night. Absolutely crazy. Then he had the trilogy with Max, which up to that point has been competitive, only to completely dominate the fight. Then had the fight with Korean Zombie, punishing him every step of the way. And dude was nice enough to even ask him if he was okay and wanted to continue before eventually having the ref step in. Volk then goes up a weight class, fights Islam, gives him the hardest fight of his career up to that point, and coming very close to winning, then goes back down to featherweight and beats up Yair Rodriguez, who's top 3 ops of the channel, like it was nothing. Barely broke a sweat. He eventually got KO'd by Islam and then Ilya after making a quick turnaround, which were some of the darkest days of our lives. And just when you think he was finished, he comes back and fights for the vacant title against Diego Lopez and wins that shit. Volk is a fighter's favorite fighter, bro, and deserves to have the #1 spot on the list. Well, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Put down in the comments who's your favorite fighter and why. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and follow me on Instagram, X, and TikTok at TheBeaverX. Bye-bye.